everybody. Welcome to I Can't Believe It's Not News, a podcast about fake news. We are off to a great start today. Elizabeth is sick. I can't understand her either vocally or mentally. So this is going to be fun. I like it. Say hi to everybody, Elizabeth.
Hi, everybody. I'm like doing charades with you over here. I'm like, why don't you start it? I'm pointing at you. You.
I knew I was going to start, but I didn't realize that we don't have our music uploaded.
Yeah, I'm not playing it first. I'm going to add it in later.
Yeah, with your magical editing skills. So I thought you were going to, so I was waiting for you to hit the button, and I was like staring at you going, hit the button, Elizabeth, hit the button.
I'm like, how many different ways can I charade the easiest possible phrase? You start. 2 words. Well, that sounds like me pointing at you and consider you go make noise because I don't like making noise right now.
Okay, well, here we go. Okay, so I Can't Believe It's Not News. We're a podcast about fake news.
We're your favorite podcast about fake news, as a matter of fact. Your very favorite.
And we have a Twitter and a Facebook that you can follow us at Podcast Fake News. And you can also email us at podcastfakenews@gmail.com. You can follow our blog at www.podcastfakenews.com. Are you guys sensing a theme here? Mm-hmm. We put everything under Podcast Fake News because we like the way that sounded.
And it worked out so well that all of those were available. So this podcast thing really has to work out because it's just serendipitous.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, oh my gosh, there's so much going on right now besides your voice and the bacteria in the back of your throat.
Ew. It's viral, Beth.
Everything this week has been viral, Elizabeth. There's so much going on with fake news that I am astounded that we don't have more competition in the fake news podcast realm.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Come on, people. Get to work.
Well, don't if you have an actual marketing company in.
Well, I was going to say, the Republicans are always saying how competition makes everything so much better. So we should be encouraging people to get out there and make fake news podcasts.
When did you start listening to Republicans? How sick are you?
You're everywhere.
They are everywhere. Okay, so let's start by talking about something small that happened. How Russia hacked the Democrats' emails. Do you remember that little story?
That was a really long time ago.
Yeah. Do you think it's still relevant?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
There's something going on here.
Yeah.
So the AP put out an article called Inside Story, How Russians Hacked the Democrats' Emails. This was on November 4th, 2017 by Raphael Slater, Jeff Dawn, and Chad Day. So this
is kind of rocking the house with this story. Is really good.
It is really good. And it walks you through and really tells you kind of the timeline of what happened. I really liked it. Definitely, I would take a look at this article. It talks about, kind of goes through how it happened, but it also gives us a little bit of some fake news information in here, which is why we're talking about it. Basically, what happened was the Russians sent out some phishing emails to the Clinton campaign, and only one was touched.
Well, here's the thing, though. The first thing that they did is they sent 29 phishing emails that bounced back. Okay, so it's like they're kind of starting to do this.
Well, 28 bounced back, or 28, didn't work or bounced back. Mm-hmm. One was touched.
Well, but it also was saying that they started out with some old emails that they probably found from digging around online.
Right.
And from the previous campaign, and then maybe they got into someone's and got an updated contact list, and it's this progression.
Right. So basically they got from the first phishing email that worked for them, they got more email addresses of kind of the higher up people. And then they started pinging those people. That is when John Podesta got hacked. And they actually hacked his personal email, not his campaign email. And they got 50,000 emails. It was like 10 years of his past emails. So the hackers, first of all, were called Fancy Bear.
I love that.
Yeah. Now, how they got caught, how everybody knows about this is the phishing emails caught the attention of the FBI. And they realized that, like, they were targeting the Clinton campaign. And apparently Fancy Bear made a critical mistake. And this is what it said. It fumbled a setting in the bit.ly link shortening service that it was using to sneak its emails past Google's spam filter. The blunder exposed whom they were targeting.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. I hate it when that happens.
I know. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I do because I Googled
okay,
it.
Perfect. Tell me about it.
Yeah, no, and I learned all about bit.lys. So, like, whenever you copy and paste an email address, it can be like a mile long. And that doesn't look very cute if you're putting it into a text message or a social media site or something like that.
Okay.
The bit.ly service condenses URLs. And so when you notice that it's a lot shorter, it's gone through something like that.
Nice. All right.
And so that's what that does.
So they blundered on that. And from that, this company called SecureWorks, which is a subsidiary of Dell Technologies and had been following Fancy Bear, they were able to discover that they were going after the Democrats. So,
but you know, what I was kind of getting at earlier too is what I really like about this article is it lays out this timeline of how this attack evolved. Right. And it wasn't just like these Russians sent some emails out and to a couple of people and John Podesta clicked on it. You know, it was
progression.
It was a progression of attacks on Democrats from Russia. Like, and it went on over a period of time. And I don't know what people think about that. You know, like in Trump world, or as I heard Joy Reid call it the other day on Earth 2, you know, it was like on Chris Hayes. I loved it. She's so great. She was saying, you know, I feel like there's the regular mainstream news and then there's like the conservative news sphere. And some people only get their information from that. She's like, and like Earth 2, right? Because it's like this whole other alternate reality. And so, you know, what people think about that. But, you know, if the tables were turned and it was the RNC, oh my God, forget about it. It would be done. Like,
I mean, the funny thing is that, so the Clinton campaign knew about this as far back as April of 2016. They started hearing that like something was going on, something was amiss. The DNC knew about it. And if you think about the summer before the election, and this is the spring before the election, whenever anybody would say like the Russians are trying to hack us, you would still feel crazy. Like, oh my gosh, we're believing in conspiracy theories and everything. But if we had known then what they've released now, it wasn't crazy at all. Like the FBI knew about it.
And the Republicans knew about it too. You know, and you have DJT up there. Oh, well, the Russians need to keep on keeping on and get the rest of Hillary's emails just up there from the podium.
They actually say in here the Trump campaign had gotten a whiff of the Clinton email hacking too. According to recently unsealed court documents, a former Trump foreign policy advisor, George Papadopoulos, said it was at an April 26 meeting at the London hotel that he was told by a professor closely connected to the Russian government that the Kremlin had obtained compromising information about Clinton. They have dirt on her, Papadopoulos said he was told. They have thousands of emails. And then a few days later, the DNC got a very urgent call that there had been a serious breach at the DNC. So they started talking about it, but they said, you can't tell anybody. Don't even tell your dog, is what they said. Like, don't even talk to your dog about it. And that's when WikiLeaks started saying that, emails were pending publication. So here's the real fake news part of this. It says here, shortly after noon the next day, William Bastone, the editor-in-chief of an investigative news site, The Smoking Gun, got an email bearing a small cache of documents marked confidential. Hi, the message said, this is Guccifer 2.0, and this is me who hacked the Democratic National Committee. So apparently these emails that they released, they airbrushed the word confidential on it. It wasn't on the original document. So Guccifer 2.0 actually edited these emails. And these were John Podesta's personal emails. And they airbrushed the word confidential on it to catch the reporter's attention. So that's, I don't know, what do you think about that?
I think it's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Just little things here and there, and it's not even like the stuff that was in the emails wasn't
right.
Like, this is where the bodies are buried, like, isn't it such a great thing that we got away with all those things that Republicans have been accusing us for years and years? Mwahaha, right? No, it wasn't like that. It was more mundane kind of stuff. Now we get into the divisions in the party, and the things like that. But it did its job. It did its job.
Listen to this. So on October 7th, the day began badly with Hillary Clinton's phone buzzing with crank messages after its number was exposed in a leak from the day before. The number had to be changed immediately. A former campaign official said that Abedin, Clinton's confidant, had to call staffers one at a time with Clinton's new contact information because no one dared put it in an email. How crazy is that?
Yeah. How much time did that take? How afraid were they? And a little bit further up in this article, there's an image in this section that talks about the campaign and how they wanted everything to be so tight on their technology and their security, and how they had the two-factor authentication for all your sign-ins and all this stuff, and shows a picture of a bathroom. This was the campaign headquarters, right? And there's a little sign in that campaign font. It says, please remember to flush. And then right below it, there's a picture of a toothbrush, and it says you wouldn't share your passwords either. But my very favorite, I need this for like my office. I want to like print this and put it up. It's a picture of Liam Neeson, like from Taken, or whatever that movie is, where he's like on the phone with the ransom people, and he says, I don't know who you are, but I will find you and I will make you lock your computer. I love that. I got such a kick out of that.
Well, and I think that the thing is that at first, at least, that's how they got into John Podesta's Gmail account, that it was personal and he didn't have the two-factor authentication. Yeah. So that's part of the reason that he was hacked on his personal email.
And now his recipes are out there.
Apparently. So, well, hey, I think you have an exciting announcement for us on our next segment.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Collins Dictionary has the new word of the year. And for 2017, it is fake news.
Shut up. Fake news is the word of the year?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that's because of our podcast? People are just talking about it all the time?
Yeah, well,
or is
obviously.
it that like orange buffoon that stands up in front of America?
Yeah, it's probably more of the latter. So that's a British publication. So I'm going to theguardian.co.uk, the article that I'm going to be reading from. So they said that the term has acquired a certain legitimacy after being named Word of the Year by Collins, following what the dictionary calls its ubiquitous presence over the last 12 months. And then it goes on to say how there is this podcast called I Can't Believe It's Not News with these two lovely ladies from the Pacific Northwest across the pond in America, and it's fabulous, and everyone should listen to it.
Wow, that's crazy that it says that.
There's a chance that I might have made that last bit up.
I think you might have.
Yeah. Another word that was on their radar was Corbin mania.
Oh.
And the use of that is at 310%.
Corbin mania? What is that?
It is the term for fervent enthusiasm for Jeremy Corbyn, the Labor leader.
Oh,
That's
okay,
how you know
gotcha.
it's British.
So here's finalists for the word of the year included echo chamber, defined as a bubble that allows people to never have to hear contrary political opinions. We don't know anything about that. Antifa was another one. Fidget spinner, and it said, ask any parent of a 10-year-old. I can attest to that. You can ask any parent of a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Gender fluid, gig economy,
Yeah.
and unicorn, which is new businesses valued at more than $1 billion. I thought a unicorn was a mythical animal. Looks like a horse with a horn on its head. I didn't know about the business thing. Is that why unicorn craze is like going on? Well. Is that why Starbucks had like the unicorn frappuccino? Is that why my kid has to have everything that has a unicorn on it?
I'm thinking not.
I think it's pretty shady. I think this new, like, the business, they're like pushing this unicorn theme to like do something shady here.
I think you're a dork.
No, seriously, the unicorn merchandise is ridiculous.
But that's always been the way. Like, do you remember when we were young, Lisa Frank? Did you have Lisa Frank stuff?
No.
You did not have Lisa Frank?
No, but I'm a little bit older than you.
You know what Lisa Frank is?
No.
Oh my God. Oh, you need to Google that because it's going to blow your mind. It is like the most fantastic thing. It is unicorns and rainbows and stardust and awesomeness.
Okay. This was in the 80s?
Yes. It is the epitome of the 80s.
Is this why you told me that your favorite decade was the 80s? And that's where you want to live? Because if you remember, I said my favorite decade would be the 20s, and that's where I would be. So, as you can see, I'm not into, like, sparkly unicorns.
Well, my point is that unicorns have been loved by many for a very long time. Do you remember Rainbow Bright?
Well, I do remember Rainbow Bright. I wasn't a fan.
She had a unicorn. It was awesome.
She did. Now, it's just like all this stuff is like so over the top. It's like these like heads that you have to wear that have like a unicorn, like a stuffed animal unicorn on it. It's not, it's not just like normal, like, oh, here's a shirt with a unicorn on it. It's like,
you got a problem with over the top?
Yes.
Google Lisa Frank.
Okay. That's a lot of color. That is like, was it just like merchandise?
It was like stickers and like trapper keepers and whatever.
Oh God, I see a sweatshirt on here that's so the 80s. It's like the winged rainbow unicorn with stars and a rainbow path in the background.
Man, I didn't know this was still a thing.
I never knew. I'm not going to show this to my child, like, ever. This reminds me now of all the cat stuff that you see, like the cat eating the pizza, riding on an asteroid, those kind of t-shirts.
Psychedelic.
Yes.
Very. It's a little psychedelic. It's a little trippy.
Okay, so, but unicorn was only a runner-up. The word of the year is fake news. We are just thrilled that maybe 0.00001% of that popularity is because we were spotlighting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's probably it.
It is. It's probably it. And I'm also just thrilled that we're such trendsetters. That here we are doing a podcast about the word of the year every 2 weeks.
Well, we're just on the cutting edge.
We are.
Of culture. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to tell you about one other thing. This is actually probably more from the 90s than the 80s. Do you remember on The Daily Show, do you remember Even Steven?
Yes, of course.
I loved them. Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert did this Even Steven bit. It was so funny. And they would take the opposite sides of an issue. So the other day, I said, Elizabeth, guess what? there's this article I found by the Pew Research Center, and it was called The Future of Truth and Misinformation Online. It said experts are evenly split on whether the coming decade will see a reduction in false and misleading narratives online. Those forecasting improvement place their hopes in technology fixes and societal solutions. Others think the dark side of human nature is aided more than stifled by technology. So it said, the question arises, what will happen to online information environment in the coming decade? And they kind of framed it like this. In the next 10 years, will trusted methods emerge to block false narratives and allow the most accurate information to prevail in the overall information ecosystem? Or will the quality and veracity of information online deteriorate due to the spread of unreliable, sometimes even dangerous, socially destabilizing ideas? Elizabeth, would you have answered the information environment will improve or will not improve?
We're totally fucked.
So you were like, I would have said will not improve. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I would have said will improve.
And you would be wrong.
And then I thought we should do a segment called Round A Beth, where you take one side of the issue and I take the other.
We can work on the name.
Okay, do you know on the GPS, like the Garmin's and stuff, sometimes they have the voices.
Sure.
Did you ever hear the Darth Vader one?
No.
They did a Darth Vader spoof one. It was so hilarious that he was supposed to say roundabout. He was like, roundabout. And they're like, no, Darth, it's roundabout. He was like, fine. And then they get on again and be like, roundabout. He just kept saying it over and over again.
This person talking to Darth Vader in the spoof.
It was like a spoof video. They were spoofing. They were saying they were working with Darth Vader to record. And so it was like the director like coming on being like, okay, Darth, that was great, but let's go back and try it again. So try to remember it's a roundabout. And he's like, right, and then they get on and be like, roundabout. So it was just pretty funny. So I thought Roundabeth was a very clever segment name because, even Stephen Roundabeth, we're going around the issue.
Yes. No, I get it.
All right. So, well, you can work on that. We can be on separate sides of that issue too.
As per usual.
Exactly. So, well, this was an interesting article. Basically, 51% of people think that the information environment will not improve, and 49% said it will improve. And there were 5 themes that they went over about this. So, theme 1, the information environment will not improve because the problem is human nature. Theme 2 is the information environment will not improve because technology will create new challenges that can't or won't be countered effectively at that scale. Theme 3 is the information environment will improve because technology will help label, filter, or ban misinformation and thus upgrade the public's ability to judge the quality and veracity of content. Theme 4 is the information environment will improve because people will adjust and make things better. And then theme 5 seems like kind of a middle ground. It said tech can't win the battle. The public must fund and support the production of objective, accurate information. It must also evaluate information literacy to be the primary goal of education.
See, I really feel like theme 5 is so true, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. Okay? That might happen sometime in the future, but right now, I just don't feel like Republicans want that.
It sounds like you think the problem is human nature.
Yes. Well, and
theme 1.
And when I talk about Republicans, I don't mean Republican voters. Okay. I'm talking about Republican legislators in the party. Okay. So just to be clear, I'm not talking about like normal people, but I just really feel like, we have so many different competing things. Okay. We want things to be easy to access and easy to understand and cheap. Okay. And so we're not willing to put money into getting better journalism, getting better information. Okay. And we also aren't willing to put money into having a better educated public. And I don't think that the Republicans are going to want to do that because that doesn't further their agenda.
I agree with you in regards to Americans. It feels like it's really hard to do things that are right for our society in America. If we were living like in Australia, we'd be golden because they seem to make good decisions there. Or like, you know, there's so many other countries that have taken issues that we can't seem to solve, like healthcare or gun control, and have done it. And we're still kind of stuck in the dark ages on some of this stuff.
But we are, right now, we are world leaders in so much. We export so much culture and technology. And I'm just afraid that our problems are going to infect the world even worse.
Yeah, I mean, in that regard, I think we already are.
And we can go backwards as a species, as a people, culturally, however you want to look at it. We went from a time of enlightenment to the dark ages. That can happen again.
It could.
And I mean, I don't know. Am I being like alarmist? But
a little.
It kind of feels like it. Just feels like it. It feels like people are so stupid, Beth. Like they just. Okay. I'm gonna have to edit that. I don't want to.
No, I think you should leave that in.
I don't want to say it because we talked about it, and that's not right. You know, I think I'm just in a mood right now. I think I just don't feel good. And I'm like feeling like really pessimistic and like really shitty about like Bernie Bros and Republicans.
It's been a bad week for news. We'll say that for sure.
I don't know. Maybe it's been all right. Paul Manafort got indicted.
That's
right?
true.
That's a good thing. That's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, we have seen some good movement.
You know, I was listening to Pod Save America, and they were talking to Sally Yates, and she was talking about how the investigation is in the right hands. And it's either going to yield more indictments or it's not.
Right.
And I was thinking, like, I feel comfortable accepting that it might not yield more indictments. And if that happened, I would accept that. Would you accept that?
Yeah, because I do feel like Mueller is the right person and is doing a very thorough job. I don't think that there's stones being left unturned here. They're doing everything that they need to do, and I doubt that the Trump organization can hide much from him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just found too much so far, and Trump's just that full of himself and dumb enough to not realize the stupid things that they have done. So
yeah, it's a total tangent. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but
absolutely. But when you start talking about the world being dark, you naturally start talking about Donald Trump. So,
and you start talking about current events and what happened this week.
Right. So, I don't disagree with your feelings, but on the other side, I'm on theme 4 here, which is the information environment will improve because people will adjust and make things better. And I pulled a couple of quotes here that I want to show you. So one lady talked about how the internet is like in a Wild West state right now, and that we'll get out of that. Like right now, we're in the Wild West version of the internet. And I kind of like that symbolism. But I want to say this quote here. This is by Irene Wu, and she's an adjunct professor of communications at Georgetown University. And she said, information will improve because people will learn better how to deal with masses of digital information. Right now, many people naively believe what they read on social media. When television became popular, people also believed everything on TV was true. It's how people choose to react and access to information and news that's important, not the mechanisms that distribute them. And I thought that was really interesting. And I tried to look up to see if I could verify that when television was first popular, people just believed that it was true.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
Well, I kind of took it as more like they were saying that when TV very first started, people thought that everything they were seeing on the screen was real. Like,
oh my God, get those people off of that island.
Right.
Somebody help them.
Well, I didn't find an exact statement that supported that, but what I did find out is that when TV first came out, the shows were live recorded, and they weren't even, like, they didn't even record them to show them again. And the first sitcom show was a real life married couple, and it was called Mary Kay and Johnny. And so basically this sitcom was about these two real people that were really married that would get up and perform live. So I was like, it kind of makes more sense how they thought it was real, because it was happening live and it was real people doing it, like being themselves. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And the other one that I want to tell you about.
Real quick, that also kind of like reminds me of like reality TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Except for reality TV is totally fake now.
Yeah, well, or like wrestling. Like people didn't know that wrestling was fake for the longest time. I'm sure there's some people still, you have to convince them.
Right. Well, this other guy, he's a principal design researcher at Microsoft. His name is Jonathan Gruden. He said something really interesting too. He said, "We were in a position before when printing presses broke the existing system of information management. A new system emerged, and I believe we have the motivation and capability to do it again. It will again involve information channeling more than misinformation suppression. Contradictory claims have always existed in print, but have been manageable and often healthy." I wanted to bring that up because I know how you feel about the Dark Ages and that it could happen again. But, you know, the printing press did change the world, and it is kind of what brought us out of the Dark Ages. And I found an article about it. It was just interesting that it said that the average person was sometimes able to read and write before the printing press. It was a myth that they couldn't read. It was common to have written words scrawled on walls, paper, and even dirt before the press. The skill of writing was less common. So the printing press almost immediately changed culture, science, and politics. And for the first time, many people had access to not only Plato, Aristotle, and Ptolemy. I'm saying that probably wrong, and he's probably super famous.
Oh.
I have never heard of that one. Sorry.
Hang on. Oh, okay. So he was a Greco-Roman mathematician, astronomer, geographer, astrologer, and poet of a single epigram in the Greek anthology.
So basically, the printing press brought all those people to the average person, where before they weren't. And it changed the world. And I think comparing, you know, the internet to that is a good comparison. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody else points out in here that, you know, we're only 25 years into this. And it's not that long of a time. And sure, we're going through a little bit, you know, of a dark time right now. But I think I told you, like, I feel like this has shined a light on all the dark corners of our society. And now we know about them, and now we can fix it. So I do think it will get better. I think it's human nature to solve a problem and to keep improving. And so I looked up a list of cool things that are being invented or going on right now for you, Elizabeth.
Oh, okay.
So did you know that they are developing a life jacket that can swim to you? So if you are overboard, they put this life jacket in the water and it swims up to you so you can put it on.
How do they know, like, exactly, like, because what if you're in the water and well, anyway.
And cue the pessimist. No. Maybe it's remote controlled. It's got a motor. It goes through water. But that's kind of cool, eh? Right?
I thought that maybe, like, they would just, like, you know, like, kind of like how you have those little, like, wind-up toys that you set on the desk.
Oh, no, I don't think
the little, like, feet go, and I thought it would do that, but, like, if you put it in the water, it might go in the wrong direction. So a remote control.
No.
Like a little, like...
Like a remote control, like the Coast Guard could send it to you.
Yes, got it.
Right.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Okay, there are new strains of rice that can grow in salt water.
Nice.
And rice feeds, like, half the population of the world. So being able to grow that in salt water is, like, a really big deal.
Okay, here's the thing, though. Like, we hear about all of these amazing things all the time, okay? Yes. And the world is still shit. Like, if we wanted to feed everyone rice, we totally could.
Now we can with salt water.
We can do that now, okay? Like, we could feed everyone right now, but we don't give a shit. Okay, there are, like, a few people who give a shit, but generally people don't. And they're not going to make any additional effort to fix any of the world's problems.
You're really good at this segment.
Like, we know.
Kudos, Elizabeth.
We know the answers. Okay. I'm just really feeling the cynicism right now.
You are.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try to win you over. I've got 2 more things to tell you about. Okay. A new device that can generate a 3D ultrasound in seconds was made from the technology of the Nintendo Wii. Somebody saw his son playing with the Nintendo Wii and realized that he could use that technology to create a scanner that would produce 3D ultrasounds in seconds, which is an improvement over what they have today.
How long do they normally take?
Longer than seconds. It was a big deal.
Like maybe it's
just trust me.
Your emphasis on seconds, like, is making me think
that was the emphasis.
The time is the problem.
Yes.
With current 3D ultrasound.
Yeah, they take a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it really?
That's what the article said. Maybe you should Google this so you can fact check me here. Okay, wait, I have one more for you. So 3D implants are now a thing. So what they do is for people with bone cancer. So let's say you have a piece of your bone that's like has a growth on it or something. They can slice out the bone that needs to be replaced, like cut off the bad part, and then 3D print a match to put back into your bone. That's pretty cool.
Let me tell you what they can do too. They there's this stuff that, and I think they do it with 3D printers. It's some kind of material that won't be rejected by your body. Okay, and they can like make like a new heart, right, in this like material, and then like make it to where God, I can't believe I'm describing this just like off the top of my head. This is so fucked up. I'm going to do such a bad job of describing this. Like they put like the skin on it, and they just like can like manufacture like an organ for you, right? That your body won't reject because it's like your own tissue, right? For like stem cells or whatever, right? Like fucking like medical magic, okay? But we don't see that. Like, that's not going to happen for anyone we know.
I almost had you. I was like, she's coming around. She was like, that's cool. I've heard of something similar.
And that was like years ago. And I mean, it's just not going to be economically feasible. You don't get like the FDA approvals and whatever. We have so many, oh God, healthcare. Oh, anyway.
Okay, I looked up the Nintendo thing. Here's an article. It says Nintendo Wii inspires system that takes 2D ultrasounds into the third dimension. Okay. Consisting of a $10 microchip, this device makes existing 2D ultrasound devices capable of producing 3D images. So a few years ago, emergency physician Joshua Broder was playing Nintendo Wii with his son. Impressed by the way the device's controllers can be so accurately tracked in space, Broder began to consider how this technology could be incorporated into an ultrasound hand probe. So he has created a clip-on device that can turn 2D ultrasound images into more detailed 3D versions that rival the quality of MRIs or CT scans. So that's where seconds come into play. So instead of sending a patient for an MRI or a CT scan, in seconds they could do it in the emergency room. So that's pretty cool.
So I just found, just so that everyone knows I'm not crazy, there's an article, scientists grow full-sized beating human hearts from stem cells. And so that's in Popular Science. So you can read all about it. And so, okay, I don't know if they can put them in people and make them work, but.
Right. Yeah. It's a start.
I think I saw it on PBS. So anyway, it's depressing to me.
It's inspiring that we are coming up with these new things every day. Somebody is out there inventing something really awesome right now that could change your life and my life and everybody's life. And, like I was saying earlier that my favorite decade would be the 20s. Technically, I don't want to go back to the 20s where I'm not even sure every house had indoor plumbing. I like the clothes and, things like that. But I also wouldn't want to go back there because it was really the height of the Jim Crow era. If I went back, I would be discouraging the Daughters of the Revolution from putting up all of those Confederate monuments.
Oh, you don't have to go that far back for that.
women were not treated very well still. There were lots of issues, lots of social issues that we have overcome or have gotten a lot better since then. And that's only going back 90 years. So if you look at, hundreds of years ago to now, it's just, we're just in a different world.
Well,
and we're dealing with a really big change right now.
Well, let's hope that good things come of it. But my stem cell human heart, we're not going to get because of Republicans. Okay, that's the truth. We have a Republican problem. Okay, and I'm serious.
We do.
We really
we
do.
We have a big problem with partisan party politics, controlling what people are willing to do or not do. And when you look back even to the 80s, the 90s, when our politicians really worked together to get stuff passed. And that's why a lot of the old school Republicans are upset, like John McCain, because he's like, we're not following the process. We're not following the process. And all of the things that they did when Obama was in office to stop everything and to just not pass legislation, and Mitch McConnell, everything that he's done, it's disheartening, because you can really see that it's just about winning for them. It's not about helping.
It's about getting rich people their tax cuts. And they deploy all this cultural war stuff and get everything all riled up to get rich people their tax cuts. And I think that reasonable people can disagree on trickle-down economics and the role of government and society and the amount of regulation that is right, and some of those smaller things. But science denial, willful ignorance, lying, race baiting, all of this that just happens on Fox News, which I think is going to be the downfall of civilization. Okay?
Right.
And kind of with
not helping.
Kind of not, and until we quit believing this shit, because they're just trying to divide us, and they're winning.
Right. And that's why I think we talk about fake news as our number one point, because I feel like it all comes back to, if we can help with fake news, it'll domino to these other issues. And I feel like you're just talking about the Republicans and the divisiveness, and what we're finding out now on almost a daily basis is how many of those really divisive groups were Russian trolls. The Tennessee GOP, the TEN GOP on Twitter, this huge group was a Russian troll. The Texas Secede group was a Russian group. The Cal Exit group was a Russian troll group. That's why I feel like fake news is really at the epicenter of this crisis.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, fake news, obviously, why we're doing our show is because fake news is a big problem and we want to talk about it. Right now, I'm just not very hopeful for humanity. And on that note, if you want to support the show and get more of this.
Wait. We have to talk about our last thing. We have to.
Shit.
You forgot. We're doing something super light and fun at the end. It's kind of like dessert. It's like your mom just made you a delicious dinner of cream spinach, lima beans.
Oh, and John Podesta's risotto.
John Podesta's risotto. Perfect.
Yes.
And now
that was part of the email treasure trove is
right.
John Podesta's risotto tips, which you can get online. Apparently, the secret is to not rush it.
Do you think that it was as coveted as the Nordstrom's cookie recipe?
I think that was some fake news. Because I heard it was Neiman Marcus.
Oh, is it Neiman Marcus's? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somebody's cookie recipe. There was a very popular cookie.
Yeah.
And it got out there.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I think it was just a cookie recipe. It was an urban legend. Right. I wondered,
They did sell the cookies, though, at the cafes.
Well, I wonder if they started selling them after that started.
No, they sold them before.
Okay.
So that's why I'm thinking it was Nordstrom's, because my sister worked there.
Okay.
And it was like the cookie thing. I could be wrong. It could be Neiman
Okay,
Marcus.
so I just Snopesed it. I'm about to drop a Snopes. Do a Snopes mic drop on you.
You're going to mic drop me on live air? Okay.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I'm
Here's
prepared.
the burn. Neiman Marcus $250 cookie recipe. False.
Nice. So what does it say?
Well, it gives the whole shebang here. And then it says something about a Woolworths in South Africa. And I don't know. Let's see. So it looks like this whole thing happened in South Africa first, too. And it says the legend has been around for at least 70 years or so and has been told of various companies and various confections during its long history.
Oh, see, that's why.
Yeah. So I have an example from a 1948 cookbook called Massachusetts Cooking Rules, Old and New. That one snuck up on me. I wasn't.
Yeah, I did. You did it, though. Elizabeth and I both have words that sometimes are hard to pronounce, and Massachusetts is one of Elizabeth's that I can actually pronounce only recently. My husband taught me a trick about it, but
I'm proud of that. Anyway,
which
lists not only a recipe for a $25 fudge cake, but gives an explanation. And so this also has a story of my friend had to pay $25 for this recipe for this fudge.
Oh, that is so funny. I can't believe that was an urban myth and I never knew. Yeah. Okay, so let's end with this one, though.
Okay.
This one's really fun. So I'll just give you the headline here of the Snopes article. Is this owl having an orgasm? So it says a funny image of an owl was circulated with the baseless claim that the animal was having an orgasm. So I saw this on Twitter. It's like this picture of this owl, and he's like looking cross-eyed, and it's super funny. Somebody posted that on Twitter, and it said, when someone praises socialism. And this guy responded, his name is Dr. Owl, at US Showtard is his handle. And it says, owl expert here, ornithologist, in parentheses, that owl is in fact orgasming. So the internet went crazy. Everyone was like, oh my God, this owl is orgasming. Like, everybody believed it, hook, line, and sinker. Snopes looked into it. So Dr. Owl is not an owl expert, surprisingly.
Oh gosh, really?
So this, I just have to read what they wrote. Considering the majority of women fake orgasms, we were skeptical that this fake ornithologist would be able to identify this owl's O face, even if he were the one ruffling its feathers. Somebody went rogue over at Snopes. That the Twitter account was barely a month old when the owl orgasm claim was made. It started by posting political content under the handle US Dotard and the username Mentally Deranged, a reference to the phrase that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un used to insult President Trump. And then when the Twitter account failed to gain traction using political content, they changed their name to Dr. Owl and claimed this photograph was showed an owl orgasming. So this photograph has been around for a while and has been like on a ton of memes because it is really funny.
It is pretty cute.
Apparently, scientists don't really know about the pleasure levels of animals during sex.
Oh, I think Dr. Owl does.
And they said the short answer is we don't know much about orgasms in other species. In fact, scientists are still studying the significance evolution of female orgasms in humans. Yeah, they are. You get those emails all the time. Test subjects needed for female orgasm study. Respond to my mother's basement. So it says, what is this owl actually doing? They have yet to determine the original source of the photograph. They can't say exactly what the owl is doing. However, it seems
he's being photoshopped for one.
It kind of looks like it, but they say that the image shows an owl blinking, and owls have 3 eyelids, and one of them closes diagonally across the eye.
God, that is so fuckable.
Wow.
Nothing sexier than that, you know? Sideways.
Do you have a lot of like owl like stuff around your house? Owl's sexy. So yeah, that was cute though, right?
Oh, that was
so
cute. Yeah,
that was a good ending.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
That was a double entendre there, right there.
Oh.
That was a good ending. The orgasms.
Wait.
Perfect. Oh my goodness. Okay, so real quick, Donald Trump, there's this huge thing going on right now where he's over in Japan and he's at like this koi fish pond with Abe, and they're spoon feeding goldfish feed, and all of a sudden you see Trump like just dump his, right? And everybody lost their fucking minds and were like, he's such a child, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you see the whole video, like the actual video, because there is one on Jezebel where it's just a close-up of Trump, so you only see him. Abe does it first, and then Trump just follows suit and does it too. I will say that in the still photo, I kind of thought it looked like golden showers. Just saying. I posted that on our Twitter, so if you want to see the picture, you can go see where it looks like golden showers. So anyway, but don't spread that one around. I was really disappointed. I don't think we've really reviewed Jezebel before. That's probably their shtick to do misleading news like that. They literally showed this video, and it just zoomed in on Trump only, so you could only see him. So you couldn't see what was going on next to him. And we just don't need that kind of shit.
Yeah. See, the world is ending. See,
yeah.
I'm right.
Okay. Partisan politics. The world is not ending. It's going to get better. It's going to be okay. Elizabeth and I are here to guide you through it. That's the good thing.
Yeah. Oh, there you
We're
go.
here with you.
Yeah. Everything's going to be okay. Just keep coming back.
And our listeners are here with us. Right, Elizabeth?
Can I go home now? My throat hurts.
Yes. Okay, guys. So thanks for listening today. Follow us. Subscribe, rate, and review. Throw us a nice 5-star on Apple iTunes podcast so that people can find us. And we'll be here.
And help me have better feelings about everything. If we had some 5-star, that would really make me smile.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we need some 5-star reviews because Elizabeth doesn't feel good and she's being pessimistic. I believe that you guys can do it. I believe it can happen. All right, guys. So until next time,
spread jam.
Not lies.